Based on the data given on meningitis deaths in Chad and the Democratic Republic of Congo, can it be concluded that there is a significant linear relationship between the two? Let alpha equal 0.05. So there's two different ways that you can determine linear correlation. One is a scatter plot, but you can also use your calculator to find it. So you would enter your X value, which in this case would be all of the data points from Chad, and then the Y into list 1, and then the Y value from the Democratic Republic of Congo into list 2. And then you would just make sure that the Y1 is of X, like this. And then press enter, and it will give you the R value, which can be used to determine linear correlation. So if your R value is close to 0, there is little to no value of a linear relationship. So with this hypothesis test, since you're just trying to prove that there is a relationship between the two, it is a two-tailed test, which means that HO can equal P equals 0, and then HI would be P does not equal 0. So for this, we can draw a bell curve, and since alpha is 0.05, there's going to be 0.025 for the area in each of the tails, and then 0.95. Okay, so in order to find the critical values, you will use inverse t function of your calculator, and then enter the area, which in this case is 0.025, and then the degrees of freedom, which is calculated by n minus 2. So in this case, n equals 10, and so n minus 2 would be 8. And then when you enter that into your calculator, the two critical values are negative 2.31 and 2.31. So those are your critical values. So in order to find your test value, the formula is t equals r times the square root of n minus 2 and 1 minus r squared. And so in order to find r, you're going to use the process that I described in the first section of finding linear correlation, where they'll give you an r value if you enter that into your calculator. Again, you'll enter the x values into list 1 and the y into list 2, and then again use f for regressions. So in this case, t equals r, which is found through that to be negative 0.13965, and then over the square root of n minus 2, which is again 8, and then 1 minus r squared, which comes out to be negative 0.19534. And then when you enter this into your calculator, you'll get a test value of negative 0.399234, which this test value falls not within the shaded area that you're trying to find in this hypothesis test, meaning that you do not reject. For the p-value method for this, you will enter information into this TCDF into your calculator, just like you have for other chapters. And then once you've entered that information, the p-value for this particular problem comes out to be 0.649917, which can be determined as greater than 0.05, which is our alpha for this problem, which also confirms that we do not reject. So based on the information found through the p-value method, the hypothesis testing, and then also testing for a linear correlation, our statement is we have sufficient evidence to claim that there is no significant linear relationship between meningitis deaths in Chad and the DRC by year. So since there is no linear correlation, there is no line of best fit. However, you can still approximate a y value using the formula of y equals a plus bx. And you can find the values of a and b by the same way that you found the value of r, which is in the F4 regressions. And again, you just enter the data given with the problem. And so based on that, you're able to approximate that when x equals 100 meningitis deaths, you can time it by b, which is found in the calculator to be negative 0.486658, and then a, which is 1,182.32. And then when you calculate that formula, you know that if 100 deaths was x, then y would equal 1,133.65 deaths. And then since there is no relationship, all of these y's are y bar because they are not involved with a relationship.